Here's a line drive out to center field. It's a grand slam! Going back is Shaw. He is going to get there. What a catch. And he's going to hop over the fence while doing it. What a... Coming home is Morales to throw. On a double hop. Is it in time? It is in time! Here's a rocket. Deep left field. Does this have a chance to go? It is gone! Go ahead, homer. Tyler Wilson on the first pitch. Play called for a back on the 14th, and there's number 100. Stephen Devaney with a line drive to left. He's 2 for 2. And with triple digits for number 1 as difference. And here's a ground ball shooting through the left side. And Kingsway has won the Ralph Shaw opener. Here we go. Fly ball deep left center field. And it is gone. Grand slam. Scott Lynch, grand slam. Is the man of the hour. There's a ground ball that's going to go into center field. It's going to be picked up, and it's going to be booted. Here comes the runner to the plate, and Pittman has won it in extras. Walk-off single, Jude Engstrom. Bases loaded. 2 outs. Just like they drew it up in Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons in the Ralph Shaw Classic.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to coverage of the Tri-County Baseball League semifinals here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. We're here from picturesque Alcyon Park in Pittman as we get set for the first of 3 games in a series between the 6th-seed Roughriders and the 1st-seed Gartons of Vineland. We've got a great one today. I'm here with my producer Vincent Vogt, and I'm Dan Wilkins. And I just gotta say, I mean, this has been an eventful postseason so far. Such a 180 turn from what we saw in the postseason last year of the Tri-County League, where almost everybody was an upset. The finals were between a 5-seed and a 7-seed. This year is looking a lot more conventional. The Roughriders are looking more like an outsider and an exception and not the norm. The Gartons are the number 1 seed, but last year they were in a lot different of a spot. They were actually the number 7 seed, and they beat the Roughriders, who were the number 1 seed, and now the tables are turned. The Roughriders were the 2021 champions, the Gartons were the 2022 champions, and now they're facing off in another playoff series that will be another rematch of these 2 teams that faced last year. Now, the other series that is going on is going to be starting in about 5 minutes at the Camden Athletic Complex, just shy of the Ben Franklin Bridge. That will be the CHBR club versus the CHP team, the number 2 and 4 seeds respectively. So really, the Roughriders are the only underdog here. They beat the Pine Barrens 2-0 to get to the semifinal round. And now that the Roughriders are in this position, now is their opportunity to pounce and knock out the team that went 18-1 in the regular season, one of the most dominant performances by a Tri-County League team in its history. But that's the question that we ask today. Will the Roughriders be able to start the series off on the right foot, or will the Gartons go up 1-0 and look to clinch another finals appearance in the Carter's Cup in 2023? Let's go over to starting lineups for both sides, starting with the visiting Roughriders as coached by Thomas Gasse. It's going to be Shea McKenna of West Deptford at third base. In right field will be Shane Daly of McDaniel College. In center field will be Eric Sabato of Monmouth. In left field will be Aaron Graber. At first base will be Ian Murphy. At the DH spot, batting 6th, will be Jack Murphy of Rutgers Camden. In the extra hitter spot, batting 7th, will be Zay Ishmael of McDaniel College. Batting 8th and at the shortstop position will be Sean Perkins of Lock Haven. Batting 9th and at second base will be Cole McKenna, another West Deptford product. And behind the plate is Rutgers Camden's Evan Carbone rounding out the order. Haddon Heights, John D. Costanzo, now with TCNJ, is going to be on the hill for the Roughriders. For the number 1 seed Gartons of Vineland, as coached by manager Chris Williams, it's going to be Ryan Schooley at third base. Batting leadoff, Nick O'Brien is the second baseman. Batting second, Ryan McIsaac is going to be the shortstop batting third. You're going to have Darren Fisher in left, batting in center. Jack Cupsey of Kingsway at first base, batting 5th. Behind the plate is going to be Sebastian Pisacreta. He's batting 6th. Peacock, the Jack Peacock of RCSJ is going to be batting 7th. You've got Hunter Brelsford, the left fielder, batting 8th. Hold on there, sorry. Had to check something real quick. Yes, that is Hunter Brailsford of Camden County College. And then after that, to round out the order, will be Scotty Craig of Rowan Cumberland in the 9th spot, batting in right. Sean Mayers will be the right-handed pitcher for the Gartons this evening. Folks, it's going to be a great playoff series. I think that these three games are going to be some of the most pivotal baseball we've seen in a long time, and the fact that we're going to see CHP and CHBR here tomorrow, these series are basically flipping between these two parks, between Alcyon and Camden. So if either series goes 3, we'll just go to wherever that third game is. If both series go 3, you'll hear from us probably on Tuesday night regarding where we'll be on Wednesday. But make sure you follow our Twitter at DW Broadcasting for more information on where we'll be at what times, so that you are up to date on where DWB will be broadcasting next. We'll go to a quick break before the Gartons of Vineland and the Roughriders take the field in the first of 3 in the Tri-County League semifinals here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. We'll be back in a minute. From picturesque Alcyon Park here in the deep woodlands of Pittman, we've got the Gartons of Vineland and the Roughriders ready to square off here in the best of 3 for the Tri-County League semifinals. This will determine who is the first team to clinch their spot in the Carter Cup. Right now, the starter for the Gartons will be Sean Mayers, the right-hander, who going into this game was definitely a kind of ace on this team for the Gartons of Vineland. Remember, this team had one of the best regular seasons that anyone could ever ask for. They breezed through the quarterfinal round after beating the South Jersey Grizzlies in the quarterfinals, and they also took care pretty handily of their other folks during the regular season. I mean, 18-1. You cannot get much better than 18-1 in the regular season, and their only loss was the game that we live streamed versus CHP. For Stephen Mayers of RCSJ Gloucester, he's got 24 innings under his belt with a 1.50 ERA, a 163 batting average against, and a 3-1 record in 6 appearances, 10 walks, 34 strikeouts, and a 1 even whip. The first 3 for the Roughriders tonight is going to be Shea McKenna, the third baseman, Shane Daly, the right fielder, and Eric Sabato, the center fielder for Thomas Gassay's Roughriders. I mean, these guys are going to have to climb an uphill battle being the number 6 seed, but now Shea McKenna is going to walk up to the plate. The umpire dusts off home, and on a beautiful Monday evening here in Pittman, a lot better than the 100-degree days that we've been seeing these last couple of weeks. 82 degrees at first pitch, almost no breeze, no threat of rain, a couple light clouds in the distance. It is a picturesque night for baseball. Stephen Mayers versus Shea McKenna of West Deptford High School, and now, I believe, a commit at McDaniel College. So, here we go. The number 1 seed versus the number 6 seed in the Tri-County Baseball League semifinals is underway with a strike to begin the ball game. 0-1. Zay Ishmael down there in the Roughriders dugout bringing a lot of energy. I love that. He was hyping it up like 20 minutes before the game. He was just, putting on his basketball shorts or whatever, and he was absolutely full of energy. And you can't blame him. McKenna's going to pop this one up foul down the first base line and over towards the soccer field, 1-2. Shane Daly, the right fielder for the Roughriders, on deck. McKenna steps out. Shea McKenna, 20 for 59 with a 339 batting average, 418 on-base percentage, and an 825 OPS. 12 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, and 6 walks. There's a line shot into left for a base hit, and the Roughriders are going to get it started early with a single off the bat of Shea McKenna. That's the kind of energy you want from your leadoff man. He got a little bit behind in the count, but then he was able to just rebound and send that ball right through the 6 gap and into left for a single. And that's how we get the festivities started this evening, as now Shane Daly is going to make his way up to the plate of McDaniel College. A lot of McDaniel guys in West Deptford. Seems like there's a connection there, as there's a foul ball over towards the first base side and again onto the soccer field. Yeah, Daly's always been, or rather Ishmael has always been that high energy guy in the Roughriders dugout. He's always just bringing 110%, and that ball just got stuck in the fence. Oh my goodness. Daly hit that foul ball so good, you can see it right there. It got stuck in the fence. So they'll have to grab a new one. Oh my goodness. We're only 2 batters in and we've already seen some chaos. Every once in a while that'll happen. Maybe not here, but like, I don't know how you get that down. There's like, unless you attach a ladder to the side. That one's gonna be a floater into left for a base hit. So back-to-back knocks for the Roughriders, and they are threatening off of Mayers here early in the first. McKenna and Daly go back-to-back. And now Eric Sabato will bat. Aaron Graber on deck. Sabato's had a couple really good performances this year so far. Had a couple multi-hit games, had a 4-for-4 night versus the Pine Barrens in game 1 as a curveball. Looked like he was going to threaten a bunt, but he pulled back. It's going to be 1-0. Graber of RCGC, Rowan, Gloucester County, batting .313, 10 for 32, 903 OPS. 1 homer on the season. Now he'll bunt. It'll go out towards third, but it will roll foul. 1-1. A lot of fans still getting here. A lot of fans setting up the lawn chairs down the first and third base lines. I can't imagine what the atmosphere is going to be for the Carter Cup. I mean, you know, it might not be high school state championship or college championship level, but, you know, these fans care. They've got a lot of passion in them, and they've got a lot of heart for the game that they love, and, you know, whether they're watching their kids or their friends or their family. You know, these guys, the guys on the field love playing, and the guys in the fans, or excuse me, the fans in stands, they love watching. And they love supporting their crew. Sabato's going to lift this one in the air to left, straight away. Calling for it and coming down with it will be Brailsford, and that'll be the first out. So 1 down, and this will bring up Aaron Graber. So Graber, the lefty, and the left fielder, batting cleanup here for the Roughriders. Shane Daly on first, Shea McKenna on second base. And Graber is going to lift this one out towards left center, straight away for Brailsford, and everybody holds up, 2 down. So first pitch fly out for Aaron Graber, and now Ian Murphy will get the chance to hit here. So we've had back-to-back singles and back-to-back flyouts to Brailsford out and left. And now Ian Murphy is going to get his chance here in the number 5 spot with his brother Jack Murphy on deck representing Rutgers Camden in the DH spot. Ian Murphy at the first base position this evening. But a beautiful, beautiful night here in Pittman. .81 degrees here at first pitch. Wind blowing northwest at 8 miles per hour, so that will be blowing out to left field, but very slightly. Rather low humidity at 36%. Mayers steps off. It's going to be really beautiful for the games that we're going to be doing. Game 2 tomorrow right here in Alcyon, and then Game 3 if necessary. Going to be 82 and sunny both nights. Unfortunately, Monday of next week, when we're looking like we're going to do Game 1 of the Carter Cup, may be a washout with 60% chance of lightning and thunderstorms, which is never a good sign. But Tuesday and Wednesday look good, but they are also, that's also far out. You can't really tell the weather forecasts from that far out. You know, you can really only make an accurate prediction maybe 3 to 5 days in advance. Upstairs and away. Folks, if you can't watch the whole game, make sure you follow our Twitter at DW Broadcasting. We're getting live updates from our assistant social media coordinator, Anthony DePalma. He'll be keeping you guys updated on our Twitter in regards to the score and what's going on here at Alcyon Park, because it's going to be a fun one from the first inning to the last. Make sure you follow the Tri-County Twitter as well at Tri-County Online. As there's strike 3 on the outside corner. Big rebound by the Gartons. After giving up 2 singles to start the ball game, 2 flyouts to left and a strikeout retire the side. After half inning, no score. Roughriders going to get their chance in the field here in just a moment. We'll be right back. Here in the bottom of the first, John DiCostanzo getting the start for the Roughriders, as it's going to be Ryan Schooley batting leadoff for the Gartons here in the bottom of the first. Roughriders had 2 on to start the inning, but could not score. 2 straight flyouts to left. That's a first pitch strike. That's how we roll. Excuse me, Anthony Schooley of Rowan. And it's 0-2. Lefty stares down his catcher Carbone and delivers. Just missed, 1-2. Ant Schooley batting .220, 1 double, 9 for 41, 775 OPS, but seems to be working for a team like Garton a team like the Gartons that are very, very well built all around. I mean, you can't have an 18-1 record without some semblance of a well-formed and well-constructed roster. So these guys know how to make it work, even with a hitter that's batting .220 from the leadoff spot. But Nick O'Brien at second base. He will be batting second tonight from Shawnee High School, the recent commit, I believe, to UNC. I believe he recently announced that, but Schooley digging back in with a 2-2 count. DiCostanzo gets a fastball but just misses upstairs. And it's a full count, so Schooley will work the count full. And that's a swing and a miss. Big strikeout for DiCostanzo, and there's one away. For Nick O'Brien of Shawnee. I always found it interesting that there's 3 high schools in one district that are all Group 3, Group 4, very large schools that are all named after Indian tribes. I believe it's just known as the Lenape Valley District, but there's Shawnee, named after the Shawnee American Indians, or Native Americans, and whatever you want to call them. And there's Cherokee High School, there's Lenape High School. Now, Lenape recently changed their name, their team name for sports, from the Lenape Indians to the Lenape Tribe, which kind of goes along with what Cleveland, the Cleveland baseball franchise, did when they changed their name from the Indians to the Guardians in 2022, which the Guardians, it actually does make sense for Cleveland because it's representative of like some of their city symbolism, but like just changing the name from the Indians to the Tribe is very simple. That's a deep drive out to center field, going back. Graber makes the catch. Actually, Sabato at the wall, and there's 2 down. O'Brien had a line drive, and with a rather shallow center field of only 365, that ball, with the right conditions, could have carried out, but instead, he'll go back to the dugout. There's 2 away, and this will bring up McIsaac here, the shortstop. You don't see too many shortstops batting third these days. I think a lot of them are a lot more agile, a lot smaller in frame. The only guys that I could see in MLB as contending number 3 hitting shortstops would be probably Carlos Correa of the Twins, although he's not doing too good right now. I mean, maybe you could shove Trey Turner in there if he gets a little bit better. Brandon Crawford, back in his heyday, like 10 years ago, he was a pretty good shortstop, defensively and offensively. Probably could put up a good 2020 season, like as in 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases. That one's a pop-up out towards first. Might go out of play here, and it will, into those trees and out towards the roundabout, and it's going to be 1-2. Darren Fisher on deck for the Gartons if this inning were to continue. No score, no base runners for the Gartons so far. A strikeout and a line drive to center field have defined this first so far. That's going to miss high, 2-2. And that's going to hit him. So a hit by pitch for McIsaac will bring up Darren Fisher. First base runner of the night for the Gartons. I think the Gartons are one of those teams that, you know, like even when they faced the Grizzlies, which were the lowest seed out of the quarterfinal rounds, even though the Grizzlies probably didn't stand too much of a chance, they didn't blow them out of the water. They won like 4-1 and 5-0, something like that. You know, they didn't pummel them. They beat them handily. They did enough to, you know, to shut them down, but they weren't all that explosive off them. But the Gartons are a very pitcher-heavy team. You know, their offense is decent. Their offense is pretty good, but you don't get 18 wins off of good offense alone, because if you don't have the pitching to back it up, you end up like a team like the Phillies, you know? Good offense can hit for power, but if you can't pitch, they always say pitching wins championships. You can have the best offense in the world, but if you can't throw, and if you can't locate, then the other team's going to pounce on that. So 1-1 to Fisher. This Jake Cupsey on deck for the Gartons. Yeah, their structure of how they do the lineup is quite interesting, but that's going to be a pop-up out towards shallow center, and Sabato makes the catch, loses the hat and sunglasses. He'll have to go retrieve those, but the side is retired, and oh, what a nice teammate for Aaron Graber to pick up the hat and sunglasses for Sabato. Side retired after one. No score here in Pittman. We'll be right back. Top of the second inning after one, still scoreless here at Alcyon Park. We've got Jack Murphy, Zay Ishmael, and Sean Perkins, the first three for the Roughriders this evening. As we said before, and I'll say it again, beautiful, beautiful night. And a lot of fans have taken advantage of that. We've gone outside and there's some walking their dogs. There's a strike. I think there's a couple there walking their dogs. There's a lot of bugs, but without the bugs, this would be a 10 out of 10 night. That's a foul ball. Makes it 0-2. I mean, what makes Alcyon Park so special is its versatility. And, you know, in the background here, you've got the softball field. Over there, you've got a Little League field. You've got the Pittman soccer field over here. It's really like a perfect venue. You know, you've got, like with the Camden Athletic Complex, you've got the Ben Franklin Bridge as a good backdrop, but this serves better for versatility's sake than for the sake of, you know, picturesque sake. I mean, there's some great trees in the background and everything like that, but that's, you know, anybody can make trees work, but the grass is always cut and well maintained. We've got a flock of seagulls flying over us. As after the base hit by Murphy, first pitch to Ishmael, it's gonna miss low. Thought I was gonna get a shot of them flying around down there, but I couldn't get it. Being a little too happy with the camera. So Murphy with the single, third of the night. Bill Kohut, can he make the catch? No. Our league organizer, Bill Cohook, came very close to making the catch, but when he comes back up to the booth, we'll tell him that he should have hustled. Although I think he's like 60, something like that. I don't want him to break a hip or something. I don't want him to have to go into the Cooper Hospital for for running out too hard for 40 yards. That one's gonna miss. To Ishmael, and it's gonna be 3-1. Runner on first, nobody out. Ishmael ahead in the count, and a swing and a miss makes it full. The defensive lineup for the Roughriders, or rather for the Gartons tonight, you've got Mayers on the hill, Piscaretta, Pisacreta behind the plate. At the infield is going to be Cupsey at first, O'Brien at second, Schooley at third, and then McIsaac at short. And then in the outfield from left to right will be Brelsford, Fisher, and Scotty Craig in right. Ishmael's going to foul it back, and the inning stays, or rather the count stays alive. Still 3-2. Yeah, make sure to tune in tomorrow. We've got CHBR and the Cherry Hill Pittman team. They're facing off against each other right here, same venue, 7 p.m. tomorrow under the lights. There's a ground ball out towards short. McIsaac picks it up, throw to second for one. Can't make the throw to first. And that will give us our first out of the inning on the fielder's choice by Ishmael. And that's going to bring up Sean Perkins, another McDaniel product. Runner on first, one down. Ishmael has some speed. There's a swing and a miss. 0-1. Throw to first. Ishmael stayed up, but was able to get back in there safely. It's a tough draw. We've seen a couple pickoff moves where it just seems like the runner isn't exactly paying 110%, but Ishmael's going to jump off of first there and kind of taunt the pitcher a little bit. I mean, not really taunting, but you know, he's intimidating him. He's getting in there and he's threatening to steal, maybe, you know, throwing him a little bit off his balance. There's a swing and a miss. 1-2. But as we said, that's what makes Ishmael such a special player. You know, if he's ever the player of the game, he's probably one of the top 3 or 5 players that I would be most excited to interview, because he's such an exuberant personality. You can't really go wrong. They are going to throw back to first, and good scoop there by Cupsey to make sure that ball didn't trickle in the right. Because Ishmael's fast. A ball in right could easily turn into a 2-base error instead of a 1-base error. You're not really watching your P's and Q's, but 2 balls, 2 strikes. The pitch, another throwback to first, couldn't get him. And again, that's what's throwing Mayers a little bit off here, is that, you know, Ishmael takes decent leads. I mean, that's a big lead. That is a big lead. It's not going to matter in that at bat, at least, because there's strike 3. To Perkins, second strikeout for Steve Mayers, and there's 2 down for Cole McKenna. First pitch to McKenna, just missed. Cole McKenna, the utility man out of West Deptford High School. He's 7 for 16, batting .438, 2 walks, 1 extra base hit, and a 1.026 OPS. Quite an impressive number. That's a line drive out to left. That's going to be a base hit, and that'll make his batting average even better there. So a base hit for McKenna, and the Roughriders have gotten a lot of singles tonight. Here is Evan Carbone, the catcher. 4 singles tonight so far. For the Roughriders, from Shea McKenna, Shane Daly, they throw back to second. Couldn't get him there, and Ishmael kind of getting some applause there for being able to dive back in. I mean, Ishmael's able to take those big leads because, I mean, you see how far he is off the bag. He's able to do that because he knows he can get back in. There's a ground ball out to out to short. McIsaac with a heater over to first, and he got him. Side retired. After 1.5, again, the Roughriders get 2 on, but can't score. We go to the bottom of the second. 0-0. We'll be right back. Garden State Pet Center is an independently owned, full-service pet store. Our specialty is promoting companionship between people and animals by providing the healthiest product choices available, including all-natural foods, supplements that support and relieve health issues, and innovative products for pet parents. Our goal is to provide our customers with a relaxing environment, and while we're not striving to be the biggest store on the East Coast, we're striving to be the best. No other pet store will make you feel at home like we do. At Garden State Pet Center, we view pets as members of the family. We don't believe in fast, high-pressure sales, but instead matching up the right pet with the right owners, as you are making a lifelong commitment. Together with our team members, we would like your visit to our store to be both enjoyable and educational. Simply drop in and take a look around. View the birds, reptiles, small animals, toys, food, cages, and miscellaneous items. Learn of the services we have to offer and decide for yourself if this is the store you'd like to call your home away from home.
Victor Santucci, owner of Garden State Pet Center. Visit us today at 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon, New Jersey. We're open 7 days a week for all of your pets' needs.
Here from the backdrop of the beautiful Alcyon Park, there's the Pittman Water Tower in our background, as this broadcast is brought to you by DJK Roofing, South Jersey's #1 roofing supplier with over 200 5-star reviews on the web. Get a free quote today by calling 856-778-3900. Jack Cupsey leading off the barrage here in the bottom of the second inning. No score between the Gartons of Vineland and the Roughriders. A 1 seed versus a 6 seed, as there's a ground ball out to second base, picked up by Cole McKenna. Throw to first is in time, 1 away. McKenna getting some nice range on that ball, being able to move over. And I always have respect for infielders that, you know, they play, you know, routine plays, but they always put 110% into their plays. Because what I hate for major leaguers, and what I, you know, really strongly dislike, is when these guys know, you know, they're millionaires. They know they're not going to mess up the throw, but they're so lackadaisical. You know, don't worry about shuffling or, you know, taking too much time. You just got to get the throw over. You know, it's not that hard to hit his glove. It's not that hard for the first baseman to make the catch. You know, not really too much of a threat. Don't make your personality as a ball player lazy. And that's what makes these broadcasts so special. And, you know, the coverage of the summer leagues is that, you know, these guys are all fighting for roster spots at colleges, and these guys are all trying to get their name recognition better known out there. And a strikeout for DeCostanzo is going to quickly give us the second out. But these guys are all looking for exposure, so they're not going to be lazy, because if they were, they're not going to be in the lineup the next day. Or for the game after that, too. So, Cupsey and Pisacreta retired, and a foul ball by Joey Peacock. Get us started here with 2 down in the top of the second. Foul back, 0-2. It'll be the top of the order, McKenna, Daly, and Sabato, the first 3 for the Roughriders in the bottom of the second, or rather, excuse me, in the top of the third. That's a swing and a miss. Costanzo gets out of the jam after 2. We're still scoreless from Alcyon. We'll be right back. Shea McKenna getting it started for the Roughriders here in the top of the 3rd. This broadcast is brought to you by KP1 Racing Designs, Westbrook Lanes, and Mount Ephraim Chrysler, Dodge, and Ram, our newest sponsors to the DWB family. If you want to be our newest sponsor, send me an email at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. Packages start at as little as $150 and can get your brand exposure to over 50,000 annual viewers on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. That one misses low. 1-0 to Shea McKenna. First 3 for the Roughriders after they had 2 singles in the first, they had 2 singles in the second, but they have been scoreless in their first 2 attempts, as that's going to be a ground ball back to Steve Mayers, thrown first in time, and that will be the first out. So McKenna now 1 for 2, and now Shane Daly is going to come up here. Don't forget, folks, we'll be covering our first football game of the season on Friday, August 25th, between the Cherry Hill East Cougars and the Triton Mustangs from Highland Regional High School. Games are going to be played at Highland due to construction over in Runnymede. So, if you want to get closer in on the action, make sure you tune in 6 p.m. Eastern Time, August 25th, Cherry Hill East and Triton to kick off the 2023 football season. Still working on games for some of the Saturdays. Right now we've been able to book a lot of Friday night games, but we've still been looking for some Saturday games. So we will have the full schedule released at some point, but that will be something we'll figure out as we go along. There's a fly ball out to straightaway center, not hit all that hard, and making the catch will be Darren Fisher. 2 down for Eric Sabato. There's a strike. That's a line drive out to deep left, and it's going to go back and making the catch at the wall. What a play by Hunter Brailsford. He read that ball perfectly and was able to bring it down. Going to the bottom of the 3rd, we've been moving on with a breeze here in Alcyon. No score between the Gartons of Vineland and the Roughriders. We'll be right back. Bottom of the third here from Alcyon Park. No score between the Gartons of Vineland and the Roughriders here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. Beautiful night for some beautiful baseball. Although it's been a pretty calm and smooth game so far. There's been some offense from the Roughriders, but a lot of heartbreak considering that they've left 4 runners on in the first 3 innings. As they have 4, 5, and 6 due up in the 4th, but right now it's Hunter Brailsford, Scotty Craig, and Anthony Schooley for the Gartons in the bottom of the 3rd. We've had some high-scoring games, and the coverage that we've had. Haddonfield and CHBR, they played 12-6 the other night. They played 21-3 back on July 7th. That one's going to be ball 4, so a 4-pitch walk to Brailsford brings up Scotty Craig, number 9 hitter here, and the right fielder for the Gartons, hitting from the left side. Lights are on, sun is setting a little bit here. And that one misses, 1-0. Scotty Craig of Rowan College of Cumberland County, he's batting .224, 11 for 49. .493 OPS. 5 stolen bases though, which could be why he rounds out the order. A lot of times we've seen teams with DHs use their last hitter as like a second leadoff man, somebody who's maybe just as fast as the leadoff guy, and kind of like a dual threat when you're going around for the second time in the order. Although that philosophy is becoming less profound nowadays. There's a ground ball out to first, tagging the bag for 1. The throw to second is not in time. So close. Could have been a 3-6 double play. Whoa, never mind. They called it a foul ball. I don't know why they didn't call that earlier, but they're going to send everybody back. So you could see on Daly's reaction, he just put his hands over his head. He couldn't believe it. But that was very close. I mean, the general thinking is that it's a foul ball if it's on our view to the left of the white chalk before it gets to the first base bag. Once it gets past the first base bag, or if it hits the first base bag, it's all free game. And that's strike 3. So what a rough turnaround. Craig goes from almost a double play to almost not having that, and being back in his normal rhythm, and now he's struck out looking. So 4th K for D. Costanzo, and this brings up Ant Schooley. He struck out his first time to start the ball game. Ground ball, I think that might have hit off his foot, and it's a foul ball. Feels like we're in a zoo exhibit. We're hearing all like the birds chirping and everything like that. I feel like I'm back at the San Diego Zoo. Went there last year. Actually, yesterday would have been 1 year ago to the date that I left for California. We went 2 weeks there, stayed a couple nights in San Diego, stayed in Anaheim, like across the street from Disney World. There's a drive the opposite way to left, going back. Graber makes the catch, 2 down. That was a couple feet from the wall. We've seen a couple deep drives by the Gartons that have just been shy of getting out. And now Nick O'Brien of Shawnee is going to come up. But yeah, we stayed like I think 7 or 8 nights just across the street from Disney, not Disney World, Disneyland in Anaheim. But it's expensive. It really is. Went to IHOP for breakfast. I think it was for 3 people because one of them didn't go, but breakfast for 3 people was $88 for IHOP. Like, this wasn't some Michelin star restaurant. It was the International House of Pancakes. Runner goes, throw down to second base is a little bit high, trailing off the bag, and they got him. A big mistake there. He just flew a little bit too far past his target, and the side is retired on the gunning down at second base. After 3, still scoreless here from Alcyon Park. We'll be right back. It's time for DWB Trivia Time here in the top of the 4th between the Gardens of Vineland and the Roughriders. Today's question is, who is the oldest player to ever play in MLB? This is an old question. I made this one back in March. The options are A, Julio Franco, B, Bartolo Colon, C, Jamie Moyer, or D, Satchel Paige. Answer will be revealed in the bottom of the 4th inning. Ground ball off of Mayer's glove, going to go back out to short. The throw is not in time. That would have been a candidate for play of the year if McIsaac could have made that work. But an infield hit for Graber, technically to be scored as a 1-6-3 because it hit off the pitcher's glove. But now, Ian Murphy to bat. Graber leading off of first pitch, swing and a miss by Ian Murphy. He struck out looking to end the first. A 1, way outside. 1-1. That one misses. Breaking ball. That'll make it 2-2. Runner on first, nobody out here in the top of the 4th inning. We got started about 50 minutes ago at 7:50 Eastern Time. That one's a foul ball. Over towards the roundabout and out of play. Yeah, over there there's a plaque which you can actually read part of it if you you zoom in on it enough. I don't know if my camera's like high quality enough for that, but as I said, as a big NASCAR buff and our social media coordinator, whoa, oh, that was close, couldn't get him. But myself and my social media coordinator, Anthony DePalma, he's a big NASCAR guy, and there actually used to be a, I think it was about 1/3 of a mile, a dirt track here in Pittman called Alcyon Speedway, which is where this park gets its name. Ian Murphy down on strikes, and that will be the first out of the 4th. Strikeout number 3 for Stephen Mayers, and he's got the first out. Bringing up Jack Murphy, the DH. He singled but was retired via a fielder's choice his first time. That ball is lifted out towards left. Under it. And a can of corn out and left for Brailsford. It's going to be two down. Now, Vince, I've told the story before. You know where a can of corns come from, right? I believe I've told you the story? Belmar, right. Belmar. Well, for the viewers that don't know, can of corn comes from a old 1890s to 1900s story of factory workers in Chicago having to catch cans of, like, you know, corn that have been, like, shaved off the cob. They had to catch the cans of corn in their aprons. Now, I don't know exactly why it refers to an easy fly ball, because you just had to catch the corn. I'd imagine catching anything in your apron is going to be hard, but we'll talk about that in a minute as there's a fly ball out to right. Again, another can of corn, and the side is retired. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Still no score here in Pittman. We'll be right back. Here we go, bottom of the fourth inning. It's time for DWB Trivia Time. Today's question is, who is the oldest player to ever play in MLB? Is it A, Julio Franco, B, Bartolo Colon, C, Jamie Moyer, or D, Satchel Paige? D, Costanzo with the first pitch swing and miss. Vince, what do you think the answer is? What are you going to go with?
I'm going with C.
You're going with C, Jamie Moyer. That would be a good guess. He's the second oldest. Correct answer is D, Satchel Paige. He pitched up until he was 58 years old in 1962. Jamie Moyer made it until, we'll go back to the main board. Julio Franco made it until he was 46 in 2007. Bartolo Colon made it until he was 47 in 2018. And Jamie Moyer made it until he was 49 in 2012. I don't think you're going to see many players like that in today's modern baseball age. Because you have to be legendary to even have a roster spot in your age 40 season. You know, you can't just be some Joe Schmo that has hung around. You know, Jamie Moyer is a very good pitcher. Would I call him Hall of Fame worthy? Probably not. If it weren't for his longevity, I don't think many people would have known who he was. He debuted in 1986. You know, he only pitched until 2000. I don't think many people would have known who he was. Oh, look at that, the throw to first. They couldn't get him. We've got a, wow. I mean, that was a little floater, and two fielders went for the same real estate, but they left first base wide open. And it's going to be a controversial infield single to start off the bottom of the fourth for the Gartons here with Nick O'Brien. So here is Ryan McIsaac. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is, but that, I mean, I can't tell from that angle whether he was out or safe. If we had a more, if we had a closer angle, like at out left center field or something, maybe I would have been able to decipher that a little better, but That one's a foul ball by McIsaac, and it's 0-2. But Julio Franco, I mean, he played a good 20, 25 years. Bartolo Colon is the real interesting figure because, you know, Jamie Moyer was an okay pitcher in his late 40s. But Bartolo Colon, if you remember, he had a home run when he was like 42 in 2016. There's a throw to first. Couldn't get him. He had a home run with the Mets in a rather meme-worthy, infamous home run back in 2016 at Petco Park off of James Shields, who, fun fact, was traded for a minor league Fernando Tatis Jr. a couple of years ago. But it's funny how those things connect. But yeah, I mean, 2-2 count, by the way, to McIsaac. But Colon, not only was he a good pitcher at the beginning of his career, he was a good pitcher at the end of his career too. In his Mets years, he took a perfect game in the 8th inning when he was on the Rangers at like 44 years old. Ishmael going over down the first base line, and he makes the catch out in foul grounds. That'll make up for the misplay at first base. There's one down. What did I say about Zay Ishmael being one of the most exuberant minds on the field? He'll put 110% into it. He dove head first in the first base to try to get that first out when nobody else would cover. He made a tough catch in foul territory on that gravel down the first base line. He will do anything to make sure that the Roughriders win, especially when he knows of the situation. You've got a 6 seed and a 1 seed facing off against each other. Really, anything can happen, but the fact that the Roughriders have held them down for this long, held down the reigning champions, the 18-1 Gartons of Vineland in the regular season at least, 20-1 if you include the playoffs, these guys are a tough team to beat. But the Roughriders are also a tough team to beat as well. So, as we said, these teams faced off last year in the semifinals. Garton's got the better of them, and as the 7 seed, they went on to win the Carter Cup title. That one misses up and in, 2-1. Yeah, Colon, I believe, won a Cy Young with the Angels back in like 2005, I believe, something like that. And then 13 years later, he was still on the hill. I remember 2011 when he was on the A's, when the A's were a lot more of a formidable franchise. They, or Colon rather, threw an MLB record 38 straight strikes. Because Colon, what makes those guys special? What makes, especially for pitchers, Colon and Moyer special? That's going to be a ball there, 3-2. What makes Moyer and Colon special is that they didn't have to throw hard to be good. They were longevity-based pitchers. Moyer, his fastball was in the low 80s in his age 49 season. There's some high school pitchers who are beating that in their sophomore year. Like Gabe McCracken of Audubon, I think he's up to like 81, 82, and he's 15 years old, sophomore in high school, or going to be a junior in high school this coming fall. Like Scott Lynch, senior in high school, throwing 88 for just for Audubon. I mean, there's a lot of high school pitchers that can throw into the 80s, but Jamie Moyer was striking out big league hitters with a 79 mile per hour fastball and a 70 mile per hour curveball. He was almost 50. Another foul ball off the bat of Darren Fisher. And it's still 3-2. One down, bottom of the 4th. DiCostanzo getting that pitch count up. And the payoff. Ground ball out to 3rd. That's going to be a foul ball. Still 3-2. Just about 8 o'clock Eastern here from Alcyon Park. You're watching coverage of the Gartons of Vineland and the Roughriders here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. If you have any questions or comments about today's broadcast, drop me a line at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. Floated out towards 3rd. Going under it is Shea McKenna. He'll make the catch, 2 down, and that long at bat comes to an end in the favor of DiCostanzo. And there's 2 down. They're actually going to talk it over a little bit with Thomas Gosse, the manager. Going over a little strategy here, because I'm sure Di Costanzo might have been a little bit rattled after having to just keep chucking fastballs for that long. We're going to have to see what tricks they'll have to pull here. I mean, I don't know if I had expected the Roughriders to get this far without giving up a run or something like that to the Gartons. I mean, they've gotten close, but so far, it's been very good news for the Roughriders to show that they can compete as a number 6 seed. But again, even as the 6 seed, they were still 13-8. You know, they were still an above 500 team. So you can't really fault them there. First pitch, swing and a miss by Jacobsi. And there's going to be a 0-1 count. This is high and away, 1-1. We've got 28 folks watching here. If you're just joining us, welcome. Actually make that 29 right now, but it's no score here in the bottom of the 4th with a runner on first for Vineland. That one's high and away. By the way, for those that are trying to check in from the other game from Camden Athletic Complex between the CHBR Third Base Club and Cherry Hill Pittman, it is 3-0 in favor of CHB in the top of the 3rd. Last time I got an update about 15 minutes ago, so that may have changed, but that's just from Bill Kohut. I know Angelo Marciano, the Tri-County Commissioner, he's over in Camden taking care of that game, so all bases are covered. Bill's taking some pictures down here, getting some shots of their players. But now Ishmael with another close ground ball and another out. Another chaotic play. Zay Ishmael laying it all on the line. After 4, still no score between the Gartons of Vineland and the Roughriders. We'll be right back. Beautiful skies here at the Alcyon Park. Welcome back if you're sticking around. Welcome to the broadcast if you're just joining us. Beautiful night. Packed parking lots, packed grandstands from left to right. We've got a beautiful night for baseball here in South Jersey. We've got Stephen Mayers still out there on the hill as we've got a pop-up foul behind the plate. No score after 4 innings between these two ball clubs. They have refused to back down. We've got a lot of great pitching, a lot of great defense tonight, especially in the infield from Ryan McIsaac for the Gartons, and Hunter Brelford has made a couple nice plays as well. It's really been a good defensive night, and the Roughriders have gotten the offense going a couple times over the course of these first innings, but after that it just hasn't been the same. They've gotten a base runner in every inning except for the third. They had 2 singles in the first, couldn't score. 2 singles in the second, couldn't score. Had a single in the fourth, couldn't score. So 5 hits all told for the Roughriders. Fouled back. It'll make it 1-2 to Sean Perkins. It'll be 8, 9, and 10. Perkins, Cole McKenna, and Evan Carbone. The 3 due up for the Roughriders, the visitors, here in top of the 5th. That one misses upstairs and inside, 2-2. Curveball misses down and away. Count is full. Big spot here. You don't want to lose the bottom of the order because you want to save your best stuff for the top half. You know, with McKenna, Daly, and Sabato being perennial threats. There's another foul ball. You don't want to waste your best pitches and your best opportunities for the lowest hitters on the totem pole. By the way, in reference to what we were getting at for the answers to the trivia question, Julio Franco played from 1982 to 2007, retired at the age of 48, as that's going to be a walk to Perkins. Bartolo Colon played from 1997 to 2018, played until he was 45. He actually just turned 50 a couple months ago on May 24th. Jamie Moyer played from 1986 to 2012, based out of Sellersville, PA, so not too far from Philly, and retired at the age of 49. And then Satchel Paige is more of a legend of the Negro Leagues from back in the 1940s and 50s. He played for Brooklyn from 1927 to 1931. That's what makes Satchel Paige's story so incredible. If you've ever heard Soul of the Game, I think it was a direct-to-TV film back in the late 90s. It tells the story of Satchel Paige and Negro League baseball in general from the 1950s, and he played from 1927 to 1947 when he was 40 years old in the Negro Leagues. Played for a lot of teams, Kansas City Monarchs, played for a Philly team for a little while. He played for the New York Black Yankees, which was a team that was segregated from the New York Yankees. But he made his major league debut with the Cleveland Indians in 1948, the year that they won the World Series, at the age of 41. He was the oldest rookie ever in Major League Baseball, 41 years old. And the crazy part about it was that he did really good. 2.48 ERA in 21 games and 72 innings. And then he came back and did it again with a 3.04 ERA in 1949. There's a strike. And it's going to make it 1-2. Then from 1951 to 1953, played for the St. Louis Browns and was a 2-time All-Star in 52 and 53. The St. Louis Browns would later become the Baltimore Orioles in the 60s. That's a swing and a miss. And that's going to be a strikeout for Mayers, as McKenna down on strikes. But yeah, I mean, he was an all-star at 45 years old in 1952, 46 in 1953. And then the craziest thing about it all, I mean, he finished 35 games, had 10 saves, had 138 innings pitched in 1952, and a 3.07 ERA at 45 years old. Now, the craziest part about it all is that's where, if he had just retired at the age of 46, the answer would have actually been Julio Franco. I'm sorry, would have been Jamie Moyer. But the craziest part about it all is that he came back for like some sort of publicity stunt. Well, that throw's going to get away. It's going to go into center field. And it's going to move Perkins over to second base, making it a 1-1 count to Carbone. But it's a big spot there for the Roughriders. The craziest thing about it all was that Paige came back for a publicity stunt start with the Kansas City Athletics in 1965 at the age of 58. The age of 58 years old. He came back September 25th, 1965, I'm sorry, he was 59 and 80 days old. Pitched 3 innings versus the Boston Red Sox, gave up 1 hit and struck out 1 batter. He didn't even know that he was just gonna start for the sake of publicity and putting butts in seats. He put out 110% at the age of 58. They said that he didn't go around, so it's gonna make it 3-1 rather. That's what makes his story so crazy. Is that he was 58 years old and he just threw 3 innings out of nowhere. Now, the modern comparison to that today would be Bill Lee. He was a longtime pitcher for the Red Sox, and he has come back in his 70s and pitched for the kind of like Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. I'm sure you know him, the Savannah Bananas. He pitched for them. He's known as the Spaceman. He's like chugged a beer coming out of the grandstands and then came out and threw an inning. Like, that's what makes baseball so special. Oh, Brailsford makes the catch. They're going to tag the bag at second base for the double play, and the inning is over. They didn't even contest it. What a play in left by Hunter Brailsford. He has been exceptional. They're all going to sprint back to the dugout. They love it. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Still no score from Alcyon Park. We'll be right back. Here we are, bottom of the 5th inning. It has been one heck of a game between the Gartons of Vineland and the Roughriders, as we've got no score after 4.5. Here in the bottom of the 5th inning, this broadcast is brought to you by Crowley's Printing and Bannel's Banters and Signs, the true one-stop shop for all your print and promotional needs with a 5-star Google rating. Over 50 years in business, handling any ink-on-paper project, as well as banners, signs, apparel, and promotional merchandise. Really been a great crowd tonight. Hunter Brailsford just made an incredible catch out and left and had a double play, which in my scorecard is technically scored as a 7 unassisted double play, which I don't think you can say that every day, but that one's upstairs. 3-0. Sebastian Pisacreta to catcher, followed by Peacock and Hunter Brailsford to left fielder. 6, 7, and 8. There's a strike. By the way, it is 5-1 in favor of CHP after 4 innings. from the Camden Athletic Complex as a pop-up over the infield. McKenna comes down with it, one away. Seemed like there was some confusion out there. I don't know if anybody was trying to dispute the call off of the ball, you know, trying to figure out who was to go where. But yeah, I think right now I think what these guys are worried about is just getting outs, you know, because they know the Gartons, they didn't get their 18 wins out of nowhere. They can definitely strike and get themselves ahead. And at this point in the game, there's a line drive out to left. Graber going back. That's going to be a foul ball down the left field line. And Fan picks it up and brings it to its rightful owner. That's a dangerous spot to be at. You know, you take one reach over and you go from just being a fan helping out to having interference on your hands. But there's the strike. Yeah, I believe Bill Kohut, I thought he was down there. No, that's Thomas Gasse. I was looking for him because he's taking pictures of some of the ball players with his camera. Just swing and a miss. D. Costanzo with another huge strikeout of Peacock. He struck out twice, and there's 2 away for Hunter Brailsford. Upstairs, 1-0. Scotty Craig on deck for the Gartons of Vineland. Brailsford walked, but was out on a caught stealing attempt in his first AB. D. Costanzo has really been on a roll. I mean, he's not one of the top pitchers in the league for no reason. You know, he's darn good at what he does, and that's why he's an ace over at TCNJ. That one's gonna miss. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strikeouts tonight, so obviously not the same as what Chris Rollins and Rich Raccabaldo did in Game 1 of the quarterfinals between Washington Township and Cherry Hill Pittman, when it was 31 combined strikeouts, 11 for, I think it was 13 for Raccabaldo and 17 for Chris Rollins. All of them went 10 innings. It was one of the greatest games I'd ever seen in my life. I had never seen anything like that before. Not only the pitcher's willingness to be the endurance man for that long, but at the same time being able to strike out batter after batter as there's another strikeout. Gartons of Vineland still without a run after 5 innings. The Roughriders hanging on for as long as they can after 5. No score. Shea McKenna leading off here in the top of the 6th inning. No score here between the Gartons of Vineland and the Roughriders, as you're watching coverage of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting and the Tri-County Baseball League semifinals. As still no score. There's a first pitch strike to McKenna, as it has been a roller coaster of a game. But the scoreboard says 1,000 words, and it's been that the Roughriders have had a dominant pitching performance and also solid defense on all sides. No errors on anybody, not yet at least. I mean, we've seen some bad defensive games. Like I had one game where the Pine Barrens, they had 8 errors on my scorecard and their 7-0 loss. But it's going to be a line drive out towards the first base side and foul, going to bounce out of play. A nice catch made out there by a fan in a lawn chair. Got it on a hop. I was afraid that when we were at the Rachino complex in Haddon Township, I was afraid that, that there was going to be a foul ball coming our way, and I would have had to scurry for a ball and like protect the camera at all costs. Because I can get bruised up. The camera, I don't want to get bruised up. Don't want to have to pay another $850 for one of these, but it's going to be 2-2 count to McKenna. He's 1 for 2, grounded out to the pitcher his last time and singled to lead off the ball game in his first AB. Gonna chop this one out towards third, going over his schoolie. It's gonna ride the line, and it's gonna be an infield single. Whoa! They called it a foul ball? Somebody just told the umpire to watch with their eyes. Open their eyes, yeah. Obviously some very unhappy Roughriders players there. I mean, I couldn't tell from the angle with where that would be, but Gasse, I think, is arguing the fact that, well, you could see Aunt Scully out there. He's saying that it was over the bag, but I mean, you can't contest a foul ball. That's not a reviewable play. And my problem is that they called it a foul ball after they made the throw. That's the second time they've done that tonight. I don't think that's the right call. It's gonna be 2-2. Fly ball down the right field line. It's gonna be foul. Over in the corner, out towards Scotty Craig. Just reminds me of the, there was this player on Woodstown, I forget his name, but he was towards the bottom of the order, and Woodstown has a very pitcher-friendly park. It's actually, I'm sorry, very hitter-friendly park. It's actually more hitter-friendly than Alcyon is. It's actually, I think, 340 to center field. Like, it is shallow. You could easily hit home runs at Woodstown's field, but it's all packed in. There's a swing and a miss. Big strikeout there for the Gartons. And there's one down. Although, mark my words, I think that definitely should have been a single. Mayers with his, let's see, first, second, third, fourth, fifth strikeout. He's had exactly one strikeout in every single inning tonight. But it seems like both sides have had their grievances with the umpires tonight. Whether it's the first base umpire or the home plate umpire, it seems like that everybody's kind of had their own personal beef with them at some point or another. It's going to be 1-1. I don't know, just something in the air tonight. Mayers delivers a curveball for a strike, 1-2. But that would be huge if that changes the complexity of this ball game and the you know, the projection of it. Could make it very interesting down the line. We saw a mid-game protest last week between Haddonfield and CHBR, which, as far as we know, CHBR won, which is why they're playing in this in the semifinal round. And there's a swing and a miss. Back-to-back Ks for Mayers, and this brings up Eric Sabato. I would imagine if the Roughriders lose this game, they might go back to the tape, and I mean, look at the foul line here down the first base line. I mean, that's a lot clearer of an angle than what I have here. I can't even see the foul line down the third base line, so the way that we're at, the angle that we're at, just doesn't exactly play in our favor. So apologies to everyone that doesn't have the full answer, doesn't have the full story. That's not in my control. That one skips to the backstop, 2-0 to Sabato. He has flown out to left both times. Two and one. That one's just going to miss. 3-1. Sabato of Monmouth College, batting .313, 840 OPS, 9 walks, 7 stolen bases, 21 for 67 with 12 RBIs and 8 doubles. And that's ball 4. So a 2-out walk. It's going to set the stage here for Aaron Graber, the left fielder, as now the infield and Garton's assistant coach is going to come out and meet with Steve Mayers. They do have some guys on the bench they could use, like Cortez, Beebe, and Finger, but I don't know if they will utilize them just yet. Roughriders do have an arm warming up down the third base line. Over there, that is, I believe that's Faust. And that would be. Yeah, that is Martin Faust of Haddonfield High School. As the pitcher warming up in the pen right now for the Roughriders. No action for the Gartons yet down the first base line. It's 1-0 to Aaron Graber. He flew out to left his first time, singled in the fourth. And this is downstairs. I mean, this is what great games are made of. You've got the pitcher's duel, you've got the outright slugfest, you know, a couple times a year, and this is the former. We've seen some great pitcher's duels here at Alcyon Park. We've covered 3 games here so far. In playoff play and in regular season play. First game was 2-1, second game was 3-2, now it's 0-0. These guys just don't want to score at Alcyon. It's 3-0 the Graber, so Mayers could be in a little bit of trouble here, although I don't see anybody warming up yet. They may, with 2 outs, they might wait until the bottom of the 6th to get anything going. Right now the plan is after that walk. The way it's looking for the Gartons right now, they're going to have 9, 1, and 2. So anybody in between that's not due up, they'll have at least a couple batters to warm up with a reserve player or something like that. But you'd imagine the Gartons 100%. They've got to get everything together in game 1 if they want to win this series. That's a line drive deep to center field, going back, and it's off the wall. That's going to get the first run home. A second one, Graber's coming around, and he will score. 2-run double, Ian Murphy. And the 6th seed Roughriders make it 2-0 in the top of the 6th inning. After it looked like nobody would score, Ian Murphy, just a couple feet from being a 3-run shot, put the visitors up 2-0. Stephen Mayers finally gives up the meatball that we've been waiting on for 6 innings, and that's going to give the Roughriders a 2-0 lead. Ian Murphy out to deep center. Out towards the 365 sign out in center. That was very close to being a 3-run home run. But now Jack Murphy, who does have his own couple of home runs this year, he's up at the plate now with 2 down. I mean, everything was looking fine. I mean, I think the Roughriders, if they had lost this game, they would have looked back on that foul ball that was not called, or rather that single that wasn't called, and I'm not exactly taking sides. I'm just saying what side a certain team would take if, you know, an outcome doesn't go their way. But, I mean, that's just kind of the situation you deal with. Had 2 strikeouts, 2 walks, and then that 2-run double scoring Sabato and Graber. BB warming up in the pen down the first base line for the Gartons. Could see some action there in the 7th if needed. That one misses. 2-2. And that is not Zach Beebe of Audubon. That is instead, that is Isaac Beebe of Rowan, Cumberland. That's a line drive. That's crushed to left off the bat of Murphy. Going back and making the catch is Brailsford. Got a good launch angle on it, but just couldn't get it over the fence and left. And the side is retired. Going to the bottom of the 6th, the Roughriders have finally opened the scoring after being here for an hour and a half. It's 2-0 going to the bottom of the 6th. We'll be right back, folks. Still a full parking lot here at Pittman. Maybe a couple cars leaving here and there, but everybody's eyes are on this ball game right now, which has just been turned on its head. Roughriders lead 2-0 going to the bottom of the 6th. Here between the number 6 seed Roughriders and the Gartons of Vineland, with Isaac Beebe warming up in the bullpen and Scotty Craig leading it off 9-1-2 for Vineland. You're in the bottom of the 6th. Craig, Schooley, and O'Brien. Hot shot, diving stop. Ishmael can't get it. It goes out to second base, and it's corralled in by McKenna. But a leadoff base hit for Scotty Craig gets it started for the Gartons. And this might add like an added sense of urgency for the GOV, because they are going to have to score here, because I don't think that they want to rely on having very late scoring opportunities just kind of fall into their hands. They don't want that to happen. They've lost 1 game in the regular season. They do not want this one to be their second. That one misses. Got a weird smell coming from the broadcast booth. You smell that? It smells like expired chocolate milk. There's no other way to describe that. It smells like I've left like a Nesquik chocolate milk out like in the sun for a couple hours. I don't know what it is. It's weird. It's not the battery, is it? The battery's not like flaming out on us? Oh, bug just went in my nose. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I breathed in and a fly went straight into my nostril. I'm so sorry. Oh. Well, Di Costanzo is going to meet with his catcher. That's disgusting. Oh. I'm so sorry, everyone. I mean, what a terrible start to the inning. I smell this terrible stench, and then I get a fly up my nose. I can't get it out. I think it's dead, but oh no. Welcome to Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, everybody. It's gonna be 3-1 to Aunt Schoolie. There's one moment during the broadcast that just makes me crack up with laughter, and that was the one moment right there. That one's popped up way up in the air, country mile high, out towards shallow left. Graber makes the catch. Oh! Wait a second. Oh. Well, won't you believe it? They got the one out, but it's on a fielder's choice. That's smart. That's smart baseball from Aaron Graber. Because he dropped the ball and got the out at second base because Craig wasn't running. So they got the quicker runner out. And that is huge. Now Gasse is going to he's going to take out DiCostanzo. So we're going to have a Paroles printing pitching change here. DiCostanzo is done after 5 2/3 innings out here. Or excuse me, 5 1/3 innings. But a fellow Haddon Heights pitcher, Mason Dobbs, is going to take over. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back, and we'll try to get this fly out of our broadcast booth because it's bugging me. No pun intended. Bottom of the 6th, 2-0, Roughriders. Mason Dobbs on the hill here in the bottom of the 6th, relieving John DiCostanzo after 5 1/3. Roughriders lead 2-0 over the Gartons of Vineland. It has been one heck of a night. Ian Murphy finally broke the stalemate and gave the Roughriders a 2-0 lead. Now, after a very smart 7-4 fielder's choice, it now brings up the second man in the order, Nick O'Brien, with Ryan McIsaac on deck. Ooh, that was... Dobbs is a very hard... He'll get the first couple of pitches. He'll get the... No, you're all good. He'll get the first couple of pitches, mixed up a little bit, and might be a little bit wild, but he gets it toned down after a little while. Nightfall has fallen on Pittman here, as there's a strike, 1-1. Excuse me, 2-1. Aunt Schoolie on first base. And the pitch from Dobbs, way up and in. See, he throws into the high 80s. I think he maxes out at 89, 90, something like that. But, yeah, it's going to be Scoreboard's going all over the place. But O'Brien at the dish here, 1 for 2 in the ball game. That is upstairs. Gonna be a 3-1 count. Yeah, I think the fly is gone, but I mean, wow. I was not expecting it. I just breathed in and it just made itself at home. It like got sucked in. That's what we get for broadcasting outside, not from a press box. That's a foul ball. But this time in the ball game is not a time for laughing matters. Got to put on our serious faces and talk about some baseball. But runner on first and 1 down with Nick O'Brien at the plate. Ryan McIsaac, the shortstop, on deck. He'll be followed by Darren Fisher, the center fielder for the Gartons. We'll see what they can muster up here in the bottom of the 6th. But they're running out of outs. If they want to win game 1, they need to get everything rolling fast. That one's a foul ball. Three and 2. Garton's looking to capitalize and get themselves back on the board. Oh, that's strike 3. Didn't like the call. He just said it was a horrible call. It looked a little low. And that will be 2 outs as he walks back to the dugout. And quite unhappy with himself. Maybe more unhappy with the home plate umpire. I was surprised he didn't get thrown out of the game, honestly. I've seen a couple instances where these guys, you know, they pull a couple bad words out of their hat, and some umpires are really trigger happy with tossing players from the game, but it would be even more hurtful to the Gartons if they lost their number 2 hitter in the order compared to you know, just having to deal with the strikeout moving on. Would have to make an already thin bench even thinner. That's a line drive deep to center, but getting under it and making the catch is Eric Sabato. A huge turnaround frame for the Gartons as they get a runner on, but can't do anything with it with an even more controversial strikeout call. We go to the 7th. Still got a whole inning to play before we call it a night. 2-0 Roughriders. Garton's still warming up. We've got the top of the 7th inning. This broadcast is brought to you by the Garton State Pet Center. On the 200 block of Whitehorse Pike in Audubon, NJ, visit 7 days a week for all of your pets needs, including the healthiest product choices available. Visit today at exoticpetsnj.com for everything from toys to cages to food to accessories and everything in between. Visit today. Leading off the top of the 7th will be Zay Ishmael. He'll be followed by Sean Perkins and Cole McKenna of West Stepford. And Ishmael definitely going to be looking to start off a insurance rally, let's say, because the Roughriders should not be satisfied with a 2-0 lead right now. They should 100% not be content with that. They should definitely look for some more runs here in the 7th, as Ishmael going to bunt, but he misses, and it's 0-1. Roughriders got to come up with something creative, because the Gartons of Vineland, they looked like they were going to be the heavy favorites to win, but then after an incredible pitcher's duel and the fact that Ian Murphy got that double in the top of the 5th, that's been the only offense of the day. And the fact that he was able to get that down and get home those 2 runs, and now the Gartons have 4, 5, and 6. Fisher, Cupsey, and Pisacreta due up in the bottom of the 7th. And after that would be Peacock, as Ishmael down on strikes pretty easily, and there's 1 down. By the way, Isaac Beebe, the new pitcher here in the 7th for the Gartons, wearing the number 12 of Rowan Cumberland County College. Isaac Beebe with a 0.9 ERA in 20 innings, 17 strikeouts, 11 walks, a 1.05 whip. And a 1-1 count to Perkins. There's a strike. That's a line drive foul. 1-2. So yeah, you've got 4, 5, and 6 for the Gartons in the bottom of the 7th. So if the Gartons want to get a rally and want to win game 1, they are going to have to go all out on the line in their first batter. There's a fly ball down the right field line, diving, can't hang on to it. Hustling and holding between first and second, having to get back to the bag, and he's going to be in there with a 1-out single. Wait, no, they got him at first. Sorry. They trapped him, and they got the tag down, so there's 2 away. That's going to be an unusual one to score. So that'll be a single, but he was out. That does count as a single, but he was out trying to advance the base. So 2 down for Cole McKenna. I couldn't tell under the lights whether he had gotten back to the bag, but he obviously did not contest it, so he stayed there. First pitch outside to Cole McKenna after Perkins was retired. But yeah, what we're looking at right now is a very dire situation for the Gartons. They obviously need to get everything going right, because 2 runs is not enough for the Roughriders to kind of ride high off of. They need to learn to lock it down, and obviously when you're facing a guy like Isaac Beebe who has a sub-1 ERA, it's going to be almost impossible to get any runs off of him. And Perkins almost got a rally started, but just couldn't hang on and took way too far of a lead off of first after turning around the bag. So, you know, kind of 6 one way, half a dozen another. There's a strike. That one's gonna miss. 3-2. Three, 2 outs, bases empty. Isaac Beebe trying to hold the lead where it is right now. and give the Gartons the benefit of an overwhelming doubt in the bottom of the 7th. There's a foul ball. By the way, score update from the Camden Athletic Complex. We've been talking about upsets. CHP leads CHBR 10-1 in the top of the 6th inning. So the 4 seed, maybe not as egregious of an upset because it's a 4 versus a 2 seed, but they definitely have the upper hand very handily in game 1. There's a line drive down the left field line. That one is going to go for a fair ball. They're going to throw it down to second, and I think McKenna is going to learn his lesson from the man before him, and he's going to hold it first with a single. So here is now Evan Carbone batting here in the top of the 7th. Carbone 0 for 2. Grounded out to short to end the 3rd inning on what was a great play by Ryan McIsaac. And then, I mean, Carbone's been very unlucky tonight. He grounded out on a great play by Ryan McIsaac, and he also flew out to left in what was a 7 unassisted double play. That diving play by Hunter Brailsford, which eventually got the runner out at second base unassisted. So he's been on the wrong end of the ball tonight. He has just not really had it go right for him. He's been good defensively, as we said. Really no errors tonight on either side. I haven't had to put a error down for anybody. This has been an incredible defensive game. There's been some great catches in the outfield, some great diving stops in the infield. It really goes to show this is where the best teams get to show their true potential. You know, whether you're a contender or a pretender, that's really the bottom line here. You know, we saw last year, Washington Township, they were the 7 seed. Garton's was the 5 seed. These guys, doesn't matter what seed you are, because at the end of the day, you're a baseball team and you're 0-0 every game you start. You know, this may be the best of 3, even if the Gartons are down 0-1 in the series by the end of tonight. Going into tomorrow, they're going to be 0-0 again, and they're going to go with a completely different game plan, and they're going to just approach it like they've done every single other game that they've played this year. I don't think one loss is going to define their season unless they lose another one tomorrow night or Wednesday night, which would be actually back here at Alcyon. Here's pitch. Carbone grounds one. Out towards short. McIsaac is there. The jumping throw. Leaps. Can't get him. A little late. It'll be an infield single. 3 straight singles for the Roughriders, although only 2 have gotten on base. That was an incredible effort from Ryan McIsaac. And now we go back to the top of the order for Shea McKenna, who's batting for the 4th time tonight. He singled to lead off the ball game, grounded out to the pitcher's mound his 2nd time, and then struck out. And Carbone is going to be pinch run for here at first. So getting in there will be Martin Faust. So he'll run for the catcher Carbone, which makes sense with 2 down. Carbone needs time to get his catcher's equipment on, which, not a pinch runner, but it's a courtesy runner. So Carbone obviously gets to stay in the game, and Faust is only a temporary runner. Faust leading off of first. There's a strike. Runners leading off of first and second. Faust on first. McKenna on second. You just gotta wonder what's going on in the mind of Chris Williams right now. The fact that this could be basically deja vu of last year, except he's on the other side of the card now. Last year he was the 6th seed, beating the 1 seed. Now his opponents are on the other end of the spectrum, looking to do the same to his reigning champion, Garton of Vineland. Moon is rising over there. We'll give that a shot in a second, but it's 0-2 with 2 down, 2 on. Time is called. Just about 8:56, just close to 9 o'clock here. Approaching the 2-hour mark of today's ball game. Couldn't get him. 1-2. Isaac Beebe looking for that big strikeout. He had one to start the 7th, but can he get one to end it? That's a swing and a miss. Beebe with a huge strikeout, but he allows 3 straight singles and nobody scores. A big inning there, but the Gartons need an even bigger inning to stay in the fight in game 1. After what we've had so far tonight, we go to the bottom of the 7th, 2-0 Roughriders. Well, look at that. That is our friendly neighbor to space. The moon is here. We've got a full, bright moon tonight. Maybe here as it's the bottom of the 7th inning. The Gartons of Vineland trail the Roughriders 2-0. That was a great shot. We've got the full moon directly over the trees in the shadows of Alcyon Park. And it's a 2-0 favor in the Roughriders, the number 6 seed here in the Tri-County playoffs. There is a strike. 0-1. From Dobbs. That one misses. 1-1. As we said, 4, 5, and 6 for the Gartons, the GOV here with Fisher, Cupsey, and Piece of Creta. That's a swing and a miss. 1 down. Excuse me. No, 1-2. Sorry. Getting a little excited out here. 2-2. Fisher 0 for 2 in the ball game with 2 flyouts. That's a ground ball out towards center field, and it'll be a base hit right in front of Sabato. And a single there gets it started for the Gartons. So Fisher gets on, and now the lefty Jake Cupsey will now bat of Kingsway. This could make things very interesting, folks. You know, I don't know. I mean, really, anything is still possible. We've got an arm warming up in the Gartons bullpen. That is Cortez. Xavier Cortez of Wilmington University down in Delaware. Upstairs. 1-0 to Jake Cupsey. He's 0 for 2 with a ground out and a 3 unassisted tonight. That's a swing and a miss. Big pitch there, and that makes it 1-1. I mean, I think Dobbs has a little bit of a wild factor to him, but once he gets it locked down, anything is really possible with him. He gets that fastball, it just blows a lot of hitters right by him. Here's a pitch. Then he goes to the backstop, going down to second base, and getting in there uncontested is going to be Fisher. Makes it a 2-1 count. Big spot for the Gartons here. Runner on second. Nobody out. Fifth hole hitter here for the GOV. One's going to miss upstairs. 3-1. And on deck would be Sebastian Pisacreta, who was 0 for 2. I mean, you look at the scorecard for the Gartons, and before Darren Fisher got on, nobody in their 4, 5, 6, or 7 hitters got on base. Brailsford had a walk, but he got called out at second base trying to steal the bag. That's a swing and a miss. 3-2. The Gartons have been very, very, very starved of hits tonight. They've been deprived of it, really. They haven't had many things in their offensive repertoire go their way. But now might be the best opportunity for them to show that off. Time is called by the Roughriders catcher, Evan Carbone. As we said, 10-1 in favor of CHP in the top of the 6th inning from the Camden Athletic Complex. They'll be coming here tomorrow night. CHBR and Cherry Hill Pittman, we'll see those two play with Bones Marciano and Chris Rollins, the two managers of those teams. We'll see them tomorrow, 7 p.m. right here from Alcyon. That is ball 4. And a huge at-bat there, working up Dobbs' pitch count and also getting on base, meaning the tying run is on. Thomas Gasse is going to go talk to Mason Dobbs. The infield will meet him. So Cupsey with a walk. Now Pisacreta comes up. Again, that was the first time that either of them had reached base tonight. For Fisher, you know, he had the single. Cupsey, he was 0 for 2. And Pisacreta is 0 for 2 as well. He struck out in the second and popped out to the third baseman in the fourth. I mean, right now, when you see the infield mostly talking with the coach, they're going over strategy, you know? If it's just the coach and the pitcher talking and the infield is kind of surrounding them a little bit, that's when you know it's more of a one-on-one conversation of, hey, you're good, you know, you can do this, you can lock it down. A lot of people think that there's some profound, you know, strategical conversation, you know, from the mastermind going on when there's a mound visit. What it really is it's trying to calm the pitcher down, especially because he gave up that wild pitch, he gave up the walk. Now it's the job of the manager to kind of be like a therapy dog a little bit and just calm the nerves. Because he knows they're there. Dobbs knows they're there. Everybody on this team knows that Dobbs is probably, you know, folding under pressure a little bit. But it's how you execute that pressure and how you capitalize off of it. That's what makes a winning pitcher. 0-1 count That one's going to just miss outside. And the thing is with Dobbs is that he throws very fast. And again, that control factor has kind of bit him in the rear a couple times this year. But if he can just get the ball in the strike zone, you know, maybe drop the velocity down a little bit and, you know, favor control instead of just going for straight up speed, that's what'll do you good in the end. 1-1 pitch from Dobbs. That one skips in the dirt. Carbone traps it, avoids any further trouble, and it's 2-1. You can see Dobbs is frustrated with himself. He just talked to Thomas Gasse. They probably, you know, talked a little bit, and maybe Dobbs wasn't feeling it before, but now things don't seem to be any better. And if the Gartons of Vineland are going to come back and win this game, this would be an incredible rebound story for an 18-1 regular season team. Just missed inside, 3-1. The thing is that, you know, we're talking about balls and strikes here. Dobbs isn't abhorrently wild. He's not throwing it to the backstop every single time like Jose Alvarado or something like that. He's throwing pitches close to the zone. They're just not hitting the right spots. And sometimes it's a matter of 2 or 3 inches, if not less, that make the difference. Here's the 3-1. That's ball 4. Still nobody out, and the Gartons of Vineland are now back into the spotlight with full force. And now Thomas Gasse's got a tough decision to make. He's got an arm warming up down the third base line. Can't tell who that is out there. I think that's Jack Murphy, the DH, who is also quite a good pitcher with the Scarlet Raptors. So it begs the question, where do you go? Corner infield is in. Second base and shortstop are staying on the infield here as the first pitch is upstairs, 1-0. And now it's the job of the Gartons dugout to be the rally men, you know, to be the loud houses. They're all crammed up against the outside of the dugout fence because they all want to cheer on their guys. Makes sense on a fundamental standpoint. First and third up on the infield grass, second and short holding steady, looking for a double play ball. There's a strike, 1-1. Peacock 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts in the second and fourth innings. Fisher on third, Cupsey on second, Bisacreta, the catcher, on first. There's a pop-up. Out towards shallow right, going over, making the catches Daly, tagging from third but holding up. The throw is on a line. Ishmael takes it back in, and there's 1 down. That was big. He got him to put the ball in play. He got him to swing at it, and he made it work. He'll tap gloves with Ishmael. And with the bases juiced, only 1 out, no more room at the inn, as I like to say. And now Hunter Brailsford, who walked in the third, struck out looking to end the fifth, now is in a prime situation here. Dobbs gets the sign, kicks and delivers. Up and in, 1-0. See, the last thing you want is to walk in a run, because that's completely of your own doing. He gave up the single to lead off the inning. Now he's having to kind of work backwards here. He's just trying to make it work, and I don't know where this is going to end up going, but this is going to be a chaotic ending. I could just kind of foresee it now. I mean, it's 9:10 p.m. We've been going on for about 2 hours, 10 minutes. This would be one heck of a lid onto this ball game. 2 balls, no strikes. 1 down, bases loaded. Fisher trying to play some mind games on third, and that misses high. 3-0. Dobbs in huge trouble. Again, Jack Murphy is warming up in the bullpen. Time is now for Dobbs to make a difference here. We'll see what he can do. 2-0 Roughriders. Time is called. We had a single by Darren Fisher, 2 walks back-to-back to Jay Cupsey and to Sebastian Pisacreta, and then a fly out to right by Peacock. Now Brailsford up. Scotty Craig, who has a single in the ball game, is on deck. 1 for 2. 3-0. Strike 1. You had a feeling that was coming, a bit of a compensatory pitch, if you will. A little bit of a really quick strategy from the third base coach over to Brailsford. Maybe he sees something that Brailsford doesn't, but we'll see what he can cook here. 3-1 from Dobbs. Swing and a miss, 3-2. Pisacreta on first, Cupsey on second, Fisher on third. A full count with 1 out in a 2-0 game. Dobbs kicks and delivers. A ground ball out to short in the middle infield. There's 1. There is 2. And the Haddonfield Roughriders win the ball game 2-0. There's a hurt player. Excuse me, that was, I'm sorry, that was, I blanked for a second. That would be Brailsford. He is down. The Roughriders are going to line up and shake hands, but Zay Ishmael's over there. And no, that is, that's not Ishmael. That is the right fielder, Shane Daly. Looks like Brailsford is up and walking it off, but a terrible loss for the Gartons of Vineland. We never thought we'd get to this point, but the final score tonight, Roughriders 2, Gartons 0. And a rather painful loss as Hunter Brailsford still struggling to get going. He got a couple steps in and then he laid back down again, so he may need some attention, but the ball game is over. Stay tuned for our Doug Does Anything Player of the Game and our post-game show. This broadcast is brought to you by Doug Does Anything, your local handyman. For any job needed, no matter how big or small, give Doug Does Anything a call, 856-412-0112. I mean, that is a tough scene. Your team just lost as the #1 seed in Game 1 of a pivotal series, and we appear to may have a injured player on the horizon. So we'll be right back with our post-game show. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Doug Does Anything post-game show here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. This broadcast is brought to you by Doug Does Anything, your local handyman. For any job needed, no matter how big or small, give Doug Does Anything a call, 856-412-0118. We've got two players at the game tonight, Ian Murphy of the Roughriders and Mason Dobbs of the Roughriders. Two equally important players tonight, but the final being 2-0. What a night it was. You guys are up 1-0 in the series. How do you feel?
Great. This team's been running the league all year. Only one loss on the entire year. So, we knew coming in tonight it wasn't going to be easy. And, that was a classic baseball game. Great pitching all around. Luckily we were able to squeeze it out. That was fun. And, we're really happy to be up 1.
And you guys got a lot of help from DiCostanzo, the starter for the Roughriders tonight. He had 6 strikeouts. It was like the Heights duo, DiCostanzo and Dobbs. It was like we were throwing it back to 2021. But, you guys were going into this game as the lowest seed to reach the the semifinals. But remember, if you remember last year, 7 seed and a 5 seed made it to the finals. So you guys are basically now the only team that had to win on the road to get to the semifinals. Now you guys are in the driver's seat going into game 2 at Camden tomorrow night. How did you feel at the plate, considering your double in the 5th inning? How'd you feel out there?
First 2 ABs didn't go very well. Struck out on both of them. Just wasn't making very good decisions. Just knew I had to, but I knew all night it just took 1 pitch, and with 2 guys on and 2 outs, I saw a fastball. Kept it short and I drove it somewhere. So, it felt great. Was glad I was able to help my team win. And, hopefully we can bring it into tomorrow.
And that's what the real question is going to be, because the Gartons, they have 2 losses now on the entire season. 1 in the regular season with our cameras on, now 1 in the playoffs with our cameras on. Now that we're not going to be live streaming tomorrow, maybe the Gartons do pull something out, but you guys are going to be there to stop it. So, you had that double in the 5th inning. That was the only offense that the Roughriders were able to get all night. And obviously with you being out there, at the DH spot. So you were in the dugout when these guys were in the field. But,
yeah.
While you guys are hanging in there, it's a 0-0 game for the longest time. What were you guys kind of thinking and strategizing about, and just how to get runs? Just hit the ball? Just, try to see the pitcher better? Like, what were you guys not seeing out there that was not helping you guys?
I felt like we were getting guys on early. We just, we weren't getting that big hit. Like I said, I struck out twice, both times I think with runners on base. So, that's just stuff that, kills a whole inning. So I think that's something we were focusing on, was just not striking out, putting the ball in play, moving runners, and then hopefully getting a big hit. And that's what it took. And sometimes that's all it takes in baseball.
And it only took 1 pitch, exactly.
Yep.
And now that you guys are up 1-0 in the series, you guys go to Camden tomorrow to face the Gartons of Vineland. How does your team feel going forward?
We feel great. We know they got some good pitching coming, but we know we got good pitchers too. So, our offense is, we're always ready to go. So, we feel great going in tomorrow, especially being in the driver's seat. But we still know it's not going to be easy, and we know we got to come ready to play.
Winning in the playoffs, especially as the underdog, is never easy.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ian. You're one
Thank you.
of 2 players of the game tonight. We'll bring on our second one on the board now. Mason Dobbs of Haddon Heights. I know.
Shout
right?
out Cole McKenna. Shout out.
Yes. Well, those guys came over here before we got back on air, and they said, "Well, we're supposed to be interviewed," and I said, "Well, I'm supposed to pick the player." So, Mason Dobbs, just scoot over there 1 step. You're our second of 2 players of the game here on our DWB post-game show. Obviously, you came in the 6th inning, gave 2 innings of relief, and it was not an easy battle. Bases loaded, no outs. Just give me a picture of what your mind's going through with the bases loaded and nobody out, especially up by 2 in a playoff game. That had to have been a tough scene.
It was a huge spot. But during high school, that happened to me a lot. I walk a lot of people, but then I somehow get out of it. Hey, who knows it works, and we're up 1-0. That's all I really care about right now.
There you go. It was a tough scene for all of us, because we're thinking, well, the Gartons of Vineland almost went down, but we thought maybe ball goes into the gap or something, but you were able to shut them down. The single and then the 2 walks, the fly out to right, and just after that, the double play ball. I mean, you guys had a lot of opportunities tonight where it looked like you guys were down and out. I mean, even with the 0-0 score, people weren't getting runs across, and the pitching looked like it was going to be very solid. So after you took over from D. Costanzo, what was the general feel of the team? Because you came in when they were in the lead, but as you were warming up, they still were in a 0-0 game. So what was your mindset out there now that you had the lead and you had the 6 outs to make? What was your general game plan out there?
Just go out there and throw strikes. I mean, obviously I didn't do that too well, but I got out of it, and that's pretty much my mindset when I got out there all times. I mean, to me, it's 0-0 all the time. I mean, I didn't really know we were up, but hey, we were, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And shout out John, perfect game. Perfect game.
There you go. I mean, he had a phenomenal night, 6 strikeouts, and with that being said, in his first 5 innings, I mean, he was just absolutely lights out, and especially against a team that was 18-1, you can't get much better than that. So we talked to Ian about this, and we'll talk to you about this as well. Now that you're up 1-0, how do you feel going forward?
We feel great. Our team is like up. We're always excited for the game. I mean, we still have really good pitching coming tomorrow. I mean, our bats are hot right now, hot at the right time. I mean, we feel really good, really, really good.
I mean, when I interviewed Evan Carbone at the Ricino complex in Haddon Township after Game 2 of the quarterfinals, basically what he said is that the team's very loose, and that's what they pride themselves on, and that's what helps them win games, is the fact that they are a team that prides itself on just being the fun team in the house. So now that you guys are up, you guys now have to defend that lead in Camden tomorrow. Thank you, Mason.
Thank you.
Again, our players of the game, Ian Murphy and Mason Dobbs here of the Roughriders Club as they beat the Gartons of Vineland 2-0 in Game 1 of the Tri-County Baseball League semifinals. From everybody here at Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, my social media coordinator, Anthony DePalma, my producer, Vincent Folks, my graphics crew, Gavin Randrell and Caleb Lane, and myself, Dan Wilkins. We'll see you tomorrow right here, same time, same place, for the CHBR number 2 seed club and the CHP Cherry Hill Pittman number 4 seed. That'll be tomorrow night. From everybody, we'll see you. Good night.